I was rushing out the door for an important work presentation when I realized I'd left my laptop on the kitchen counter. Cursed under my breath, spun the car around, and headed back home. It was a random Tuesday, nothing special, so I was surprised to see my mother-in-law's car already parked in our driveway. She lived 4 hours away and only came for birthdays or holidays. A midweek drop-in was unusual, to say the least. I let myself in quietly. The house was still, but I could hear hushed voices drifting from the kitchen, that specific low whisper people use when they think no one else is listening. Something about the tone made me freeze in the hallway instead of calling out like I normally would. My wife's voice, barely above a breath. "Mom, what if he actually fights the divorce?" Her mother laughed softly. "Sweetheart, he won't. Men fold the second a baby's involved. Courts always favor the mother, you know that. But the house is in both our names." "Exactly. You automatically get half plus with his income. Child support and alimony will keep you comfortable for years." I felt the floor tilt under me. My wife gave a nervous little laugh. "I do feel guilty sometimes. He's so excited about this baby, all those books he reads, the nursery he built himself." "Stop it," her mom cut in sharply. "Guilt is a luxury you can't afford right now. You're doing what's best for you and my grandchild. Besides, you've said it yourself. He's dull. You deserve more than being bored for the rest of your life." They kept talking, laying out the timeline like a military operation. Wait until the baby arrives, establish herself as the primary caregiver, then file. Claim emotional neglect, long work hours, anything that sticks. Move back in with mom, convert the garage into a nursery, live off my payments. They even toasted with coffee mugs. I backed out of the house without a sound, got in my car, and just sat in a grocery store parking lot until my hands stopped shaking. Then the shock hardened into something cold and clear. I drove straight to an electronics store and bought 4 high-quality voice-activated recorders, small, long battery life, app-connected. Best $420 I ever spent. That night I acted completely normal. Kissed her hello, admired the new onesies her mom supposedly dropped off, rubbed her belly like always. As soon as she was asleep, I hid the devices. One inside a fake plant in the kitchen, one behind books in the living room, one in the guest room nightstand, one in our bedroom drawer cracked just enough for sound. Next morning I called in sick, pretended to be knocked out by a stomach bug, and parked 2 streets over with my phone open to the live feeds. Her mom showed up before 10 a.m. For the next 3 weeks I recorded everything. Hours of it, them laughing about how she'd gone off birth control over a year earlier without telling me, how the pregnancy was deliberately timed as an investment, how they'd already met with a shark divorce attorney who promised 6 figures in combined support, how I was too nice and too trusting to ever suspect anything until it was too late. They calculated my take-home pay down to the dollar, planned vacations they'd take with my money, even discussed which luxury SUV she should convince me to buy for the baby right before filing. I documented every penny too, pulled 3 years of bank statements, discovered secret credit cards she'd opened in both our names and run up to almost $16,000 on clothes, spa days, and baby shopping. Took screenshots of everything. Then I called my old college roommate who practices family law, met him after hours, played 20 minutes of the worst clips. His face went from shock to grim determination. "First things first," he said. "We need a prenatal paternity test, non-invasive, totally accurate at this stage. She'll never agree. She won't have a choice once we're in court." He laid out the plan. "Keep recording, keep smiling, don't tip my hand. Let them dig their hole deeper while we built a fortress of evidence." For the next 2 months, I lived a double life. Went to every OB appointment, cooed over ultrasound photos, assembled the stroller, all while listening to them mock me in real time through an earbud at night. It was hell, but every new recording was another nail. They got cocky. Started talking openly about faking postpartum depression to strengthen her custody claim, about how men always give up once they see how hard parenting actually is. They high-fived over projected monthly support numbers that made my blood boil. Right on schedule, a month before my lawyer wanted to pull the trigger, my mother-in-law announced she was moving in temporarily to help with the 3rd trimester and newborn phase. I smiled and said, "Of course, whatever you need." The spare room recorder caught her bragging to friends on the phone. "He's clueless. My daughter's about to secure his paycheck for the next 2 decades. The day finally came. I was at work when the process server hit the house. My phone lit up. First my wife screaming, then her mom, then blocked numbers. By the time I got home that evening, half her closet was emptied and she'd fled to mommy. Her attorney fired off an emergency motion the next day. Exclusive use of the house, temporary spousal support, medical bills, the works. We countered with the prenatal paternity request. The judge ordered the test over their furious objections. Results came back 2 weeks later. 99.99% exclusion. Not my child. Game over. We amended the filing immediately. Fraud, deception, concealed debt, non-paternity. Attached 30 hours of crystal clear recordings and the lab report. The temporary orders hearing was a bloodbath. Her lawyer tried the abandoned pregnant woman sob story. My attorney simply asked the judge if he'd like to hear 15 minutes of the respondent and her mother planning the entire scam before the child was even conceived. The courtroom speakers played their own voices discussing me like a human ATM. My wife went ghost white. Her mother looked ready to faint. When the clip ended, you could hear a pin drop. Judge asked my soon-to-be ex whose baby it was. She stammered, cried, claimed confusion and a bad marriage. Judge wasn't buying it. No temporary support. I kept the house premarital anyway. All joint cards frozen, come back for the final hearing. They tried to settle after that, offered to walk away quietly for a $60K lump sum. My lawyer laughed and counteroffered her personal belongings and no criminal fraud referral. They declined. Bad move. Final hearing was 3 weeks after she delivered. She rolled in with the newborn looking for sympathy points. Got none. The judge had clearly reviewed the file in detail. He cited one of the most calculated attempts at matrimonial fraud he'd seen in 20 years on the bench. Ruling from the bench. Marriage dissolved immediately. All premarital assets remain with original owner, house, retirement, investments, mine. Joint debt allocated by who spent it. She got $13,800 of the secret cards. I ate about $2,200 of true joint charges. No alimony. No child support, obviously. She pays my attorney's fees, $16,200. She is ordered to establish legal paternity with the actual father and seek support from him. Her mother was openly crying. My ex looked catatonic. As we left the courthouse, her mom cornered me in the hallway screaming that I'd ruined her daughter's life. No, I said. She tried to ruin mine. I just refused to let her. Security escorted them out when she wouldn't stop yelling. Aftermath was ugly but brief. Mutual friends who'd bought her abandoned pregnant wife story went silent when the recordings somehow found their way into group chats. Still don't know who leaked them. Flying monkeys from her family eventually stopped calling once the bankruptcy filing hit public records. She and the kids still live with her mom. She works a customer service job she hates. Her mother supposedly resents night feedings and diaper costs she never planned on actually handling. I turned the half-finished nursery into a home gym, adopted a ridiculously happy rescue dog, got promoted at work, and sleep like a rock in a house that's 100% mine. Sometimes people still whisper deadbeat when they don't know the full story. I don't correct them anymore. The people who matter know the truth. 3 years of my life were stolen by a lie, but because I turned around for a forgotten laptop that one random Tuesday, I didn't lose the next 18 and the rest of my financial future with them. I kept my freedom, my home, my peace, and my self-respect. That's more than a win. That's a miracle.